We are live.
Hey everybody, hi, I'm Jeff from Snapships. Scott from Snapships is here, and we are today going to talk with Josh Dirksen, who makes some of the coolest things with Snapships that have been posted in a long time. It's really exciting stuff. We had a Discord Q&A this past weekend, which was great. Scott and I were able to meet a bunch of people, and we met Josh, and we got to see stuff that Josh was making. And a lot of the stuff that Josh had built really stood out and was really exciting. And so we're like, man, we have to take Josh, his face, and his builds and smoosh them through the internet tubes. And we're just going to basically hang out and talk with Josh and have him show off some stuff that he's built and talk about it. And we're going to find out about him. And it's going to be great. Josh, how you doing?
Good.
You look good.
Yeah, it's been a good day so far.
Yeah, the Discord build thing was great. That was really fun.
That was an awesome party. It's such a total fluke that I thought to join because the organizer, one of the admins of the Discord, just dropped a link. It was like, hey, by the way, we're doing this build party. I got a limited number of seats. Do you want to join? And I was like, I think I just randomly saw it and was like, yeah, why not? Sure, we'll do that.
Scott and I have been involved with Snapship stuff in our brains now for 5 years. It's funny how it went from the thing in our garages to being out in the world. The things that we're going to show off in a little bit are things that we never dreamed that the system could have made. It's been really exciting to see the creativity of people like you and Warped and Venerator and other people on the Discord and around the internet in general.
Hey, Josh, you want to give us just a super quick background on kind of what you do and kind of how you got involved in Snapships?
I've been a Lego builder since forever. I have a ton of Lego, and in fact, actually, most of what is on this shelf behind me is, in fact, Lego. Yeah, so I used to be very, very into Lego, and still am. I used to do conventions where we would do big group builds and very elaborate, large display models for Lego. Around the time that I was sort of finishing doing that, I basically started working full-time as a game developer. So I'm now designing board games professionally.
Yeah.
I've worked on a number of licensed properties with Linvander Studios, which is a company I co-own. We're based in Guelph, Ontario. I came across Snapships one day when a friend of mine in the U.S. Navy was posting about, oh, I saw this cool thing. I bet my kid would like this. And I looked at that and said, that looks neat. I'll buy a couple from Amazon. They showed up. I built a Lance kit and was like, oh yes, this is going to be good. So I ended up buying kind of two of everything, 2x2 from Play Monster. That was sort of the beginning of, well, okay, I like this thing quite a lot. I was very curious from the beginning to see kind of what the upper bound of what you could build with Snapships was, because all of the kits are relatively small starfighters and dropships and things. And I was really curious to see how well the system would do scaling up to the sorts of Lego creations that I built in the past, 3 and 4 foot long spaceships out of Lego. It's been an interesting experience kind of figuring out where it works and where it maybe needs improvement or future expansion.
Future expansion. I like that. We started doing some videos not too long ago, just trying to show off things that we saw on the internet. And one of the first things that we saw was this thing that you had built. And we immediately were like, oh, we have to show that thing off. And I have not taken it apart because it's super cool. But you were telling me on Discord, this is one of the first things you made?
Yeah, this was the first model I built after getting my box of everything.
Just because the way that you have the armatures with the engine stuff hanging off, which is great.
Oh yeah.
When you told me on Discord that it's one of the first things I built, it's just all right, Josh is really good at building things. That's awesome.
So level 1 Snapships on top of level 18 Lego. It's a format that's nice to build in Lego because it's not so involved that you can kind of bang one out in a night.
Yeah.
Whereas Snapships, it's a fighter I might try and design and build in Lego is now a 20-minute commitment. And now it's awesome just to have a couple of bins open around the office and be oh, I'm just going to tinker with something for a little bit and see if a design emerges.
Yeah.
I find it really good for kind of free association design thinking. It's a little bit faster than Lego that way.
When we were prototyping it and designing it, one of the things we really wanted to do was you could easily 3D build a thing and do weird, crazy things. Because I think sometimes Lego, for a simpleton like me, can be a little overwhelming because I mean, you basically just have pixels and you're just like, oh my God, there's a lot to do.
And it's actually only gotten more complicated with Lego because of the number of small parts that now exist.
Yeah.
So the complexity of like what you can do at different scales in Lego is now just absolutely insane compared to even 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
The part counts have slowly gone up, but the models haven't gotten bigger.
So do you have a thing that you can show us, like start us off with a smaller, cool thing?
So this is the one that I was showing off on the Discord build party, which is sort of a take on a classic design that I was very curious to see if we could get the wing shaping right.
Yeah.
And actually I was able to get basically the front and side silhouettes, and I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that does kind of work. I was really pleased to discover that with a bit of determination and using some of the additional, I'll take this off here, some of the additional connector pegs, like the orange ones, to make pegs where there weren't any. One of the things other Snapship builders have talked about is like, they can never seem to get enough orange pegs, which is why having 2 of everything is great, because I probably used double or triple the normal allocation of orange pegs to get the job done on most of these models.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that ship is so cool that is going to be coming out in the app.
Scott told me something about that.
It is, yes. We have, or I have reconstructed it inside the app, and we'll release that probably when this video hits YouTube. So one thing I really love about that build too is what you did with the cockpit there, setting it off kind of in the center and putting that, I think it's the Phelps cockpit vertically like that.
Yeah.
This gives it a really unique look. I haven't seen any ships out on the interwebs that look exactly like that. So that's why that one I think just jumped out at us. Very cool.
Yeah, and the scale of it works well, for sure, right? I mean, because the Phelps cockpit being a top-mounted cockpit, the scale is definitely different than, like, say, the Sabre cockpit, which is more of like a fighter jet.
I actually find the Sabre cockpit the most difficult one of the whole set to use.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I find like it looks really, really good when it's on the very front of a ship, like the actual Sabre kit. It's way harder to use it anywhere else in the ship geometry.
It's kind of got one orientation, and it's something we've looked at with a lot of the...
This one.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of the cockpits that we are designing now and for the future is to really make sure that they can kind of go at any orientation.
A lot of the ships that we see online that I really, really like do end up using are drawn to that Gladius cockpit for a variety of reasons. It
has a lot of attachment points, and you can mount it in a lot of interesting ways.
Yeah,
sure.
Totally.
It's really nice actually to hear that you guys are thinking more about how parts are used in other orientations, or how they can be made, for lack of a better term, as generic as possible.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
Open up all of the ability to build with them, right?
Yeah, well, it's funny, when we first started designing it, I was designing the stuff and printing them at home in my garage, and so my pieces were a little more generic and plain. But what we found at Maker Fairs is people were able to like say, oh, well, this could be this or this, and use it in different ways. Yeah. And the Play Monster stuff, I think the designers there did a great job where they just added a lot of detail to stuff. Which is great. And what we're doing now is, we're seeing what everyone's doing and kind of figuring out things that people could use that would make the system much more useful. So that's exciting. That's why it's so great to see some of the builds that like you and other people are doing, so we can say, oh, we never even considered that piece could be used like that. And if we changed it a little bit like this, it could be used even more. Oh, this would be great.
So I'm already seeing, even from the latest wave of the little drone kits, there are a lot of really great pieces in there that work really well, sort of front end and back. Like they almost look like 2 totally different parts, which is great value because now you've got 2 different sorts of design aesthetics in a single piece.
Speaking of design aesthetics, let's check out, you have like a 2-color build, I think, right?
Yeah, so the one thing that I really love about Lego, and if you look at a lot of my older ship models in Lego, I like building in rare colors a lot. There are certain colors in Lego that are super like difficult to get in quantity. One of the things that I was excited about for Snapships and kind of saw the potential in the future of the line is having cubes in other colors. But because we can't really do that yet, I was looking at ways of using the gray forge pieces with a variety of the red parts from the complex sets. So basically taking the forge frame, but using all of the design language from the other faction, the complex. And you got a little nice stripe of blue on this one from the Lance cockpit.
I think that looks pretty awesome. I like what you did with the complex piece in the center of the fuselage to form that back angle going up towards
This one.
the fins. Yeah, that works really well.
I'll take a wing off, and then we can get a proper cross section.
Yeah, it just it does a good job of flowing up to like those complex tail fin things to really have it strike back, which looks cool.
Those back engines
Yeah,
are
this
very
this
cool,
model
too.
actually started. This started with this block. I just mounted these two things, and I was like, it's kind of a cool way to mount them. I guess it could be a tail fin, and then the rest of the ship kind of came out from the front, and then I got that done, and I put a couple of different kinds of wings on it, and I was like, no, it really needs like Star Trek-esque engine pods.
Well, it's funny getting the
themselves.
engines out using trussing can just change the feel of a ship so much.
Oh, it looks mean, right? Because it's got these really big, heavy engines, but it's so like delicate and sharp in the middle.
Yeah, no, it looks
There's a
great.
nice
And
synergy between the actual shapes too. Like the whole thing is like a big diamond, right? You've got this kind of nice upward line here, a line across, and then from the front, you've just got a series of inward V's. And even the silver printing on the engine
Yeah,
blocks
yeah.
kind of helps too.
Yep.
That's the thing I
yeah,
like.
no, it works really well. That's for sure.
Snapships. Build to battle.